Let's walk through like the beginning stages of a breathwork practice.
Yeah, good. I share with you. I'm a guy who had to get hit over the head with a baseball bat before I finally get a message. I had to develop this ability to hear a quiet little, spirit knocks, knock, 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 and I ignore it. Don't even hear it. Knock, knock, knock. I hear it, but I got other things. And pretty soon, bang, bang, you just can't avoid it anymore. And I like to save people from that also. Uh, so everything starts with awareness, and a greater awareness, a higher awareness. And so the first step is to have this intention to open and expand. You're opening your mind. You're getting out of your own little narrow thinking. You're breaking out of your habits and patterns. So literally, you take a long inhale and you take your time and you focus on the actual physical sensations of opening and expanding, side to side, front to back, top to bottom. So you don't have to imagine opening and expanding. The more breath you pull in, the bigger the breath makes you bigger and bigger, like a balloon filling up. So give yourself that experience. Take a long, slow inhale and focus on the feelings and sensations of being filled, filling yourself up, stretching, opening, expanding. And then let go with a sigh. And when you let the breath go, let your jaw go, let your shoulders go, let places where you know you hold tension go. And then with the next breath, as you're breathing in, be loosening and softening around the breath. So as the breath is coming in, maybe I use micro movements. Maybe I wiggle and squirm. So as I'm breathing in, I'm softening my structures so the breath doesn't meet tension and resistance. So now I just play with my body as I'm breathing in to let the breath get into the cracks and crevices, soften and loosen my being, my structure, so the breath can actually get into those cracks and crevices, start to dissolve the tensions in those areas. And then the next sigh of relief is even more exaggerated. And think theatrical, exaggerated, dramatic sigh of relief. We need to get that message to the lizard brain. I'm talking a Shakespearean sigh of relief. You're a Shakespearean actor. You come out onto the stage and you got to give yourself, this is basically a sigh of relief, a long inhale and then the exhale. It's basically a sigh of relief. And you want to take that. It's not even a skill. It's not an exercise. It's not a technique. Everybody knows how to do it. Just do it very consciously and start to do it better. So that long, exaggerated inhale. And when you let go of the breath, let go of muscles, let go of joints, let go of thoughts, let go of the past, let go of limiting beliefs, let go of resentment, let go of let go, let go, let go. So there's the mantra for breathing. Open and expand. We want to make space for something big to come into us and come through us, and relax and let go. So that's the mantra. Inhale, open and expand. Exhale, relax and let go. And just start repeating that. And what's going to happen is your mind's going to get activated. Observe those thoughts. Your body's going to get activated. Observe those feelings. Don't judge them. Don't control them. Just start with just pure awareness. Oh, look at what I'm thinking. Oh, look what's happening in my body. Develop that ability to just be with what is as it is, without reacting to it, without suppressing it, without overextending it, without analyzing it. And you are developing this mindfulness capacity, this pure awareness capacity. And from that will literally come inspiration. You'll hear your own voice of God from within. You'll have a high thought. You'll have a clear insight. It just happens if you just keep opening and expanding, relaxing and letting go. Open and expand, relaxing and letting go. No more instructions than that are necessary. But if I was going to coach someone, I'd be watching and noticing things that probably they're not paying attention to, and I would start to improve the technique, let's call it, right? But that's enough. That's where you start. And what does it mean to open and expand? Open and expand to higher intelligence. Get out of the little narrow, limited box and habits that you have. You build that in. What am I opening and expanding to? More health, more intelligence, more wisdom, more courage, more strength. Your own intuition will start to give you what it is that you know you need to open to and expand to. Somebody's telling you something and you're just not letting it in. Maybe if you open and expand, you can actually let it in. And then the relax and let go. What do I need to let go of? Certain habits, certain thoughts, certain beliefs, certain behaviors, certain patterns. And the whole thing just naturally starts to take place if you just use a sigh of relief and just start to make it juicier, more intentional, thicker, bigger, more powerful, and no more instructions are needed until you get to the point where, hey, somebody like me could say, I notice that when you're breathing, you're creasing your forehead. Relax your forehead when you breathe. Or I notice yourself tensing your jaw. Relax your jaw. You know, sometimes we're not aware, and somebody just observing us, it's obvious to them, and we're oblivious to it. It takes an external awareness to point something out to us. And that's when a good coach comes in handy. But we need to start the work on ourselves. Even before you even have a coach, you got to get yourself into the game. And then you start looking for a coach.
I think a lot of people struggle with sleep. I know a lot of the audience here, and I just think in general, everybody's wired on their phones, overstimulated, watching TikToks, Instagram, YouTube till 10, 30, 11, then trying to shut down, oftentimes scrolling while they're still laying in bed. A practice I started doing about 5 years ago is leaving my phone outside of my bedroom. But when I lie there in a dark room, if I'm having trouble with intrusive thoughts or my brain is not shutting down, I'll use breath work. And I'll do very similar to what you just described there, feeling the breath coming in, but then feeling it go throughout the body. And I don't know why I picked this up, but I was like, I want to feel this breath till it gets all the way to the bottom of my toes. And I don't know if it's going all the way down there, but I'm trying to internalize the feeling of taking the breath in through my nose, it reaching my fingertips, it going down my legs, it reaching the bottom of my feet. And if I focus in on it, I can almost, and once again, I don't know if it's actually happening. I don't know how breath works in the body, if it's actually getting to the bottom of my feet, but I can begin to internalize that feeling almost as if it's calming my nervous system. It's calming and shutting off my mind because I'm so focused on that one thing. And I can tell you, Dan, it's like when I started doing this, it's like 5 breaths and I'm asleep almost every single. I was like, I'm going to do 10 of these, and I don't know if I've ever made it to 10 because it's just so relaxing. What is happening there in the brain? You've talked about breathing, getting us out of the reptilian brain. What's happening in our brain and our nervous system when we're really begin to internalize and focus in on this internal breathing that you're describing here?
Yeah, I call that infusing every cell. It's a practice. It's one of the lessons in my course. We need to begin to practice infusing every cell with breath energy. And that's exactly what you're describing. And that's a principle in Sistema, Russian martial arts. That's also used. Ilse Middendorf was a very famous dance teacher. She was teaching dance in Los Angeles at 95 years old. The lady's still dancing and teaching. And that was one of her principles. So when principles like this show up in unrelated fields and skills, that saves us a lot of time and a lot of energy. We've identified a principle. So you just described this principle of infusing every cell. Now, yes, you start to actually experience it. And even if you only imagine it and visualize it, it's just as powerful, because there are 3 levels to breathing. Just on the physiological level, on the body level, there's getting the air in and out of the lungs from the world. Right. If that's all we did, we couldn't survive. That's not enough. The second level is that air, that's the breath that's in the lungs, needs to get into the blood, and the blood is carrying the stale air. That's the second level, the exchange of air, not from the world to the lungs, but from the lungs to the blood. That's the second, deeper level of breathing. But genuine respiration occurs on the cellular level. That's when the breath leaves the blood and goes into the tissues and the organs of the body. That's where genuine respiration takes place. And yes, we can tune into that experience. It's happening all the time. That's where mindfulness and awareness and meditative awareness comes in. We can start to actually experience that. And that causes us to double down on our practice. We get better at it because now I can actually feel it and not just imagine it. And so that's beautiful. And it only, once you get to that level, it just takes a few breaths and you've totally changed your state. You've gone from, like sluggish to energized or hyper to calm. The same breath is a regulator. You can regulate, upregulate, or downregulate. And so once you master your breath or develop some skills with breath, you can immediately start doing some things. You can, we have a pharmacy in our head, and the breath triggers whatever chemicals are needed to do whatever the body needs. And we can start to drop other drugs and substances because now we're awakening the natural chemical factory in our brain.
I love that, a pharmacy in our minds. I'm so aligned with that belief, and it's the things that we are chasing oftentimes in the world: porn, sex, drugs, like to get these feelings. Like, no, you can induce those same chemicals in much healthier doses.